how much money do I need to start my business? Even though it's general, I say go over the different types of businesses we have and how much it takes to start, because that's the question I get the most.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So that's actually a pretty easy one, because I think that on all three of our businesses, I would almost say, what would you say, $1,500 is a good starting point for?
Yeah, I mean, you could even start with 1,000. I prefer a little more because you can make more, but if you have $1,000, definitely.
I would say if you're going to trade in the stock market, 2,000 is a good base to have. 2,000.
Yeah, and honestly, people think I think I read some statistic that 40 or 50% of people don't even have $1,000 in their bank account.
I was just telling them that. Yeah, it's like 70% of U.S. Americans don't have, I think, $2,000 in savings. It's crazy. That's a crazy statistic. But hey, credit cards. People taking out the credit card.
What should they do if they have let's say, okay, I have $200. How do I get that enough? I'm not. Let's say you're 17 or 18, not working. You're going to school or something, and you're like, I don't have time working 9 to 5. What do I do? What would you guys recommend?
I would say figure out how to make that $200, $400. Whether it's in buying some shoes off eBay and reselling it for more, or working as a freelancer. Like for me, I did tutoring. That's how I met my fiance, and I charged $50, $45 an hour. So for tutoring, that's it. And I helped some younger kids that were from China how to speak English. I would read to them, just simple, and it was fulfilling, and I was making money doing it. So you can do stuff like that.
Yeah, do that for a week and you're already at $1,000.
There you go. Yep.
Exactly. I think that anybody who it's hard to, when you have only $200, like you said, the only way to spend money, to make more money with money that you have would be to spend it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is the way to do it. So you first have to get rid of that 200 that you had and put in something that's actually good. Whether it be, that's the amazing thing about the world we live in, is that I could go buy something right now and I could post it on. We have Gigi here. You guys have what, Craigslist type thing?
Craigslist, OfferUp. Yeah.
Exactly. You can post it on any of those. You can post it on eBay. You can post it on Amazon. You can post it on a Facebook page. It's like a buy and sell page. You could sell something if you post it on the five platforms I just said. You could probably sell your product if it's reasonably priced and it's not overly niche specific. You could probably sell it within a day.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, yep.
It shouldn't be too hard. So, and then obviously if you are working, just to kind of add on to this, if you are going to school, I don't think that anybody should have the excuse, honestly, that I go to school, I can't have a job. Because I know people that if you're willing to actually put in the work, working at probably, I would say that my biggest thing was the girls that I work with at the club are making more money than a lot of people are working full time at McDonald's, because they have and same with me, we're good. We have cash jobs on a weekend at a club. If you can get something like that, or you were doing serving, you can do serving jobs.
Yep.
For me, it was bouncing. For them, it's bartending. Some of these girls are making $500-$600 a night.
Yeah.
So for anybody who's in that industry, if you're going to school, I would just highly recommend. I know it's not very entrepreneurial, but if you want to fund your entrepreneurial standpoint, that's what I did to start everything, was working on weekends. Stop going out on the weekends and start working, because those are the times that people make the most money on, really.
Exactly. And yeah, go for the jobs that are going to pay you the most, which is in college, serving, bartending, your bouncer, stuff like that, to where you can get tips, right?
Yeah.
That's the only way to do it, is getting tips. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because they're making bartenders and servers. Sometimes on good days are making more than a doctor is.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. There were some days. I worked at a restaurant that was more family oriented, so it wasn't like a high end restaurant or anything, but pretty well known, California Pizza Kitchen. And I was averaging, $30, $35 an hour, which is, what some people make full time. So.
Oh, I know my little sister only works weekends. My little sister works weekends at a breakfast place, and she's pulling in, oh God, I think she probably has $5-6 in her bank account, and she's in grade 9.
Yeah.
Just from serving, because she'll come home every weekend with $300 cash.
Yeah.
And when you put any expenses, that just adds up. So
yep.
I would definitely recommend that. But getting back onto the entrepreneurial standpoint, what's the question I always get asked? Um, what I guess it would be okay. If you could go back, this will be a little bit different one, but if you guys could both go back, would you have gone to school for what you went to school for, or would you have started being an entrepreneur earlier?
I mean, if I found my idea earlier, I would be making over $1 million a year, no problem. It's just taking time to grow it now. So obviously, I wish I knew what I know then, because that would be awesome. Would have had like tons saved up already. But I mean, I didn't learn anything from. I went to like 3 years of college so far. Still going like part time, but not for long, hopefully. But sorry, mom. But if I wish I did know it earlier. As far as going to school, I mean, it's not provided me with anything, and I don't think it will. So I'm never trying to get like a corporate job where I work my way up or work a 9 to 5. So yes, I wish I knew earlier. But again, with my thing, I mean, I can still go to school and do it at the same time because it doesn't take too much time. So yeah, I wish I found it earlier.
Yeah.
What you
Yeah, I mean, if I knew everything that I knew earlier, of course, I would go back, and I wouldn't go to school to be a doctor. I only went to school to be a doctor because my mom wanted me to be a doctor, you know. So I mean, my mom's Filipino, so she's like, "Oh, you got to go to school and be a doctor," and that's what I thought I wanted to do. But you know, I read a couple good books that really inspired me to do something different. But yeah, I mean, but I wouldn't have met Tanner
Yeah,
if I didn't go to school. So for me, school was more for networking and making friends and enjoying time. So I would never take that back. I would never tell anyone don't go to school, because really, when you're young, like 18 to 20, you know, you should enjoy those years, because after that, once you're getting into like what we're doing, man, this is all we do. We love doing it, but this is all we do. And just know that there's no social aspect to this except for this Google Hangout, but there isn't. So enjoy having some friendships and going to a party here and there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but
Yeah,
when you're,
I can honestly say the same with me. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't have like a dying regret.
yeah,
But you know, if I had figured out things earlier, would I have? If I had known that I could do this earlier, if I had known that I could create a YouTube channel and just
Yeah.
record my life every day, would I have done that? 100%.
sure, yeah,
I kind of knew that. I even knew it in the past, but that's actually brings up my next question. That I kind of knew that I could do this before, because I have another successful YouTube channel that most of its videos has around 100,000 views and over. So that channel was reviews on light bars, and that's kind of what I talked about in my YouTube video I did today. But I knew that, but I still listened to everybody else and was like, no, gotta go to school, gotta get the good job. Like, and I had actually business when I started going to school. I was making good money with a landscaping business that I started, but yet I still listened to everybody else. So what would you guys say when it comes to having that conversation? What do you like? People get held back, and I actually listened to a podcast today that said the number one thing holding people back is normally their parents or their significant other telling them like they can't do it. First of all, did you guys have any issues with that? And second of all, if so, how would you overcome it, or how did you?
Yeah, I would say I definitely had issues with that, and I still partially do sometimes, because it's a habit in your head. It's groupthink mentality, and when you have that habit, it's hard to get rid of. So sometimes I'll be like, oh, can I do this? And I'll be like, I'll quickly tell myself, stop it. But yeah, I mean, you know, when that's all you know in school, you know, you just kind of have that mentality, so it's hard to get rid of. I think my realization was when I was interning at, and then eventually was an associate at this largest investment bank in the world, and I noticed that all these people are salespeople, and there's nothing that you can't do. If you can sell something, I mean, that's it. That's all you need, because really everything in this world, this computer right here, I don't need it for my health to live, but Apple created it and said, hey, you know, we got this nice computer. You can have screen cap, you know, talk with people online. Here's it, $1,000, $2,000. So really, if you could just provide that value, you know, you can sell anything, no matter what your education is, your skill level, doesn't matter. If it's something of value, whether you make someone smile, Like, that's value. So anyone could do that. I'm just saying, like, you don't have to go to school to provide value. That's my conclusion.
Yeah. As far as like people telling you like you can't do it, I never had anyone like specifically be like, "Oh, that's dumb. You can't do that." It was more people being like, they don't understand what it is. So I tell them, "Oh, I'm gonna go sell things on Amazon." They assume, "Oh, he's like sells a couple things on eBay." They don't know it's a business, so they just roll their eyes like, "Okay." Like,
Yeah.
I told people from when I was 17, before I even knew any entrepreneurial stuff before I was making any money, I said, I will have a Lamborghini before I'm 25. And they'd say, how? And I'm like, I don't know, but I will. And then now, I mean, the last like 2 years, I mean, I'm going to get one this year for sure. But it's always been, it's not as much they doubt you. They probably doubt you a little bit because they probably think themselves they couldn't do it. But
yeah,
if someone's not where you want to be in life, why would you take advice or listen to them? They don't understand. Go to anyone. So because I'm young and I make like decent money, have the car, people assume, okay, my parents bought it for me. I ran that today. I met someone. He's like, oh, that's your parents' car, right? And I was like, no. He's like, but they help you pay for it. I was like, no. And it's just because they don't think themselves they can do that. When I tell people like how much I make, they don't believe it. They think it's because they can't do it. But go talk to anyone. I mean, there's people way younger than me that make millions. Anyone who is successful will never doubt you.
Yep. Exactly.
Because they've been there. They know. You'll never see someone else who's successful be like, oh, he's too young to do that. Or, oh, no, he probably didn't buy that. I guarantee no one successful will say that.
Yeah. Mostly anyone telling, and to touch up on that, mostly anyone telling you that you can't do something is just a reflection of their own thoughts of themselves. And that goes back into psychology. But yeah, that's all it is. I mean, don't take advice or opinions from people that aren't doing what you want to do and are successful at it. If they're just if they're doing like meaningless tasks, and like, why would you take advice from them? So I don't know. It's a solo game. Entrepreneurship is very solo, but when you could find a good group of people like we have, I found Hayden and Tanner, it's good to collaborate and just inspire and motivate each other. So if you could find a good group of people like that, that's a powerful tool. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys. It's the same thing. Like, it's very hard when it comes to doing this because a lot of times there's a lot of risk involved.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people will tell you, even when you're making good money, they'll say, well, that's not going to last forever. And this is true. You can't, both for all of us, Tanner, you can't assume that Amazon's going to be around forever. Ryan, who knows what will happen with the stock markets.
Yeah.
Social media may change. For me, YouTube might not be around. All these things are going to change. But the thing is about entrepreneurship is you don't do one. It's not a career. It's not like what you do is not what you do. You just do where, as I guess Gary Vee said, wherever the attention is, where you're gonna go. So for Tanner, wherever there's something selling is where you're gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's just how it is. It's just you move from place to place. I think that's one of the misconceptions people get, that they don't understand that it's almost, in my mind, almost safer because you don't know that your company is always going to be around. You're not in charge of that. You may think that you've got this solid job, whatever, and like you're good to go, but you don't know for a fact that your electrician business is always going to be around. You don't know that whatever it is that you're working for is always going to be there. You're not in charge of that. And the good thing about doing what we do is that we are 150% in charge of our income, when we work, how much we work, if we want to make more, if we want to make less.
Yeah.
Literally, it's all up to you, and it can be scary, but it's also a good thing, really.
Well, once you get one thing that works, you can prove to yourself you can do it. Like, I didn't like start the Amazon thing because, oh, I love sales and e-commerce and I know business, and I knew nothing when I started. I taught myself because it was a good opportunity, and then I went and took action. I mean, most people will learn it and never do anything about it and never know. But it's not about like, oh, I'm good at selling things online. That's it. No, I went and taught myself it because it was a good opportunity. And then like right now, I'm learning affiliate marketing because I think it's a great opportunity as well. I don't know anything about it to begin, but I'm learning it and taking action on it. So being an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter if one thing doesn't work. Once you start one thing successfully, you can do another.
Yep.
So it's kind of the same thing. You just got to teach yourself, replicate what other people are doing, and do it better.
Yeah, definitely. And social, to touch on that, social media has made it so much easier. I remember when I learned how to trade options and I had some success with it, I was like, man, I think I could teach this. Literally just started posting pictures of my computer and my trades and like my P&L, and people would send me messages like, hey, I want to learn. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll teach you $50 for an hour session. And like, that's how I started. And I never thought that I would be able to sell something, my service, through Instagram.
Yeah.
Literally all my clients came from Instagram, and I was like, wow, this is really something. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're almost pretty much running out of time.
Oh yeah, that was a long one. I think that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So why don't we just end it off then with, I guess, as always, what I always try to end off with is one piece of advice that Ryan, I'm going to send this your way because Tanner, you already answered this question on my podcast before. Ryan, one piece of advice you could give a young entrepreneur. It could be, that's completely general. Just one piece of advice that you could give them.
Well, I think you did ask me on the podcast, but it's going to stay the same because I truly believe in others. So what I would say is just have 100% belief in yourself if you're going to pursue this. And, maybe it's not pursuing entrepreneurship. Maybe it's pursuing, you want to be a nurse or, anything else. It's that 100% belief that you have value to offer this world, because we're all born the same. We're all human beings. So have that 100% belief and be willing to work, and the results will come. You put in the work, the results will come. So
I have another one that's related to this podcast.
All right.
So fuck what anyone else thinks. It's your life. Do what you want. If you're young, now is the best time because you have way less liability and like no expenses probably. Now is the time to take a risk. Don't wait. Go do it.
Yeah.
And don't care what other people think or say. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to be 45 years old looking back wishing that you would have pursued your childhood dream, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Well, I'm going to end it on my side of things. So, well, guys, I really appreciate the call, and I hope that everyone listening got a good insight on, what we do, and we answer some of your questions. If you guys would like to follow Tanner or Ryan, all of their information is going to be in the show notes down below. As always, thank you guys for listening.
Awesome. Thank you, Hayden, for doing this Q&A with us. The link to his channel will be down below. You can check out his podcast as well, and look forward to the next Q&A, maybe in a few weeks.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah.
Weekly podcast show.
Yeah.
Hopefully. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.